The scene opens with Jing, who, with a keen gaze towards Xihong, fires a loaded question. Looks like Kalfa wants to auction me off. Now that you've got me, can't you tell me the truth, Xihong? Interpol aside, who exactly are you? Xihong, caught by surprise by Jing's astuteness, asks, how did you figure out that I have another identity? Without hesitation, Jing replies with the sharp logic of an assassin. It wasn't that hard. If it were just the risks of the job, you'd have switched careers 10 years ago. The only reason you'd leave now is if you'd been coerced into staying this whole time. Who's threatening you? Kalfa or Blackmamba? Kalfa wouldn't put their spy on the front lines. Renu told me you saved Renzhua from one of Kalfa's human trafficking rings. Human trafficking is the one thing Blackmamba works with Kalfa on. So that leaves one possibility: you're the spy Blackmamba planted in Interpol. Even so, your actions don't exactly line up with Blackmamba's. So where do you really stand? After a moment of dense silence, Xihong finally reveals the truth behind his divided loyalties. Blackmamba adopted me. Or to be precise, I was sold to Blackmamba when I was 3. They brainwashed me as a kid and trained me to be their spy in Interpol. After I became an agent, I uncovered the truth about who I really am. After a long search, I found my family, but the group noticed and used them to keep me in line. Blackmamba works under Kalfa now and only follows their orders. They wanted me to bring them a blonde-haired, blue-eyed product from this town. I only realized they meant you when we met. Jing, assimilating the confession, synthesizes Xihong's plan. So your plan was to draw our group's attention and make me the focal point to protect me and buy time, while also figuring out who we are, hoping we'd help you escape with your family? Upon hearing this, Xihong confirms that this was his plan. However, now everything has gone off the rails, and because of this, he'll have to make a choice to protect his family. At that instant, an imposing figure emerges, the second in command of Blackmamba, a man with dark hair, incisive green eyes, and a distinctive tattoo, wearing a black blazer and a blue shirt. He greets Xihong with a tone of surprise and irony. Yo, Xihong, you actually pulled it off. His eyes then turn to Jing, and the tension in the air intensifies with his chilling words. Assassin Jing, long time no see. We have some scores to settle. You wiped out 2/3 of my crew back then. And on top of that, you ran off with a huge stash of gold. Where'd you hide it? Without warning, he points a gun at Jing's head and demands, now's the time to come clean. However, before he can continue, Xihong acts quickly, taking the gun from Jing's head and intervening with cold calm. Kalfa wants their product in perfect condition. We'll just kill the auction winner once the money's transferred. Then do as we please with him. The second in command of Blackmamba visibly irritates. What do you mean we? I've never seen you as one of us. If it weren't for Uncle believing in you, I'd have killed you ages ago. You better behave, or your little brother's as good as dead. At that moment, a man with long hair and a scar on his face enters the room. Promptly, Xihong points to Jing, who is still kneeling, and hands him over. Here's your product. The long-haired man, now identified as Mr. Quinton, slowly applauds the actions, a sinister smile on his face. As expected from someone who's had both Blackmamba and Interpol training. Now that the real C-807 is here, these backups are useless. Mr. Quinton, knife in hand, turns to the kneeling, hooded man beside him, the original C-807, and stabs him mercilessly. We see that there are other hooded figures, besides this one, kneeling around the room. Mr. Quinton then orders, get rid of the remaining backups. Meanwhile, a man with a pistol beside the other hooded figures responds promptly, yes, Mr. Quinton. The man with the pistol begins firing, taking down the hooded figures, while a desperate scream echoes. Spare me! Mr. Quinton then approaches Jing, his expression a mix of satisfaction and perversity. Didn't expect this, huh? That we'd meet again so soon, Jing. He grabs Jing by the chin and slowly sniffs him, uttering with disturbing coldness. Just as I predicted, you've been permanently marked. So are you pregnant yet? Jing, enraged, tries to headbutt Mr. Quinton, who promptly dodges the blow. Mr. Quinton, with a scornful smile, replies, hey, stop fooling around. You can't get hurt. Our clients want their product in perfect condition. He then expresses ironically that he finds it very interesting and curious that an assassin once feared by everyone has now become just another item to be auctioned off. He then asks if Jing knows how many people are here for the offline auction today, and mentions that every group he's angered wants a piece of him. He smiles ironically and continues, "You're about to fetch the highest price Kalfa's ever seen at an auction." With that, he takes a syringe and injects it into Jing's neck, who immediately passes out. Sometime later, Jing, still in a state of partial unconsciousness, begins to awaken. As his vision slowly returns, he hears voices that seem to come from an auction. Fragments of words echo, "Million, 50 million sold, and our last item." At that moment, his private cell is revealed, and Jing thinks to himself, "My whole body's limp, my vision's blurry." And then voices from the audience echo, "Is that him? It's really him." The presenter then announces at the top of his lungs, "Sorry for the wait, here's today's finale item number C807. He once single-handedly wiped out a nest of tarantulas. He's even taken down Blackmamba guys, among other dangerous beasts. The starting bid is 100 million, with premium gifts included. I present to you the fierce chinchilla. The auction starts now." As he uttered these words, the spectators, including Mr. Quinton himself, enthusiastically awaited the start of the auction, while Jing, caged and bound, could only observe the situation helpless. The auction hall buzzes with escalating bids. One voice shouts 500 million, another counters with 1 billion, and the numbers quickly climb to 2 billion, then 3, then a staggering 6 billion. Jing sits, listening to it all, his gaze fixed on the men around him. He thinks, the cage, along with every corner, is surrounded by members of Kalfa and Blackmamba. As expected, Quinton is staying close to watch the show. As Jing's thoughts race, the bids continue to climb, reaching 9.5 billion. Suddenly, a strange noise pierces the air. "What's that sound?" one Blackmamba member asks, while another replies, "Sounds like it's coming from above." Quinton, his face etched with tension, looks up trying to understand what's happening. He barks at one of his thugs. "Keep going, but make it quick." The thug, clearly fearful, responds, "Yes, Mr. Quinton." The thug then addresses everyone present at the auction, his voice trembling. "Everyone, please stay calm. The auction shall continue." The bidding resumes, finally hitting 10 billion. He quickly begins the final count. 10 billion once, 10 billion twice, 10 billion thrice. Sold. The moment the auction closes, a massive explosion rocks the venue. Panic erupts as people scream, wondering what's happening and who's behind it. Jing calmly and intently eyes the gaping hole in the wall. From within, Xihong emerges, flanked by his thugs. With a cold stare and words laced with pure rage, Xihong declares, "No one leaves here. Kill them all." Quinton realizes it's the Bernett crew who have arrived, while Xihong pulls a gun from his jacket, ready to defend himself. "This is impossible. How did they find this place?" Quinton exclaims in shock. Before he even finishes expressing his surprise, Xihong fires his gun at the Blackmamba second-in-command, stating afterward, "The guy from Blackmamba was right. I've never considered myself one of them." Quinton, desperate, tries to escape, but Xihong, with cold precision, shoots him in the leg. Quinton collapses, wounded and in obvious pain. More than physical agony, however, desperation washes over Quinton as he pleads, "Hurry up! Take the product and go!" The thugs rush toward Jing, but before they can reach him, they're hit by projectiles fired by Xihong. Xihong reaches Jing, embraces him and asks with relief, "Jing, are you okay?" Jing replies that he is, and Xihong, his voice calmer, says, "Don't do anything so dangerous again." Enveloped in Xihong's strong arms, Jing thinks, "Him holding me like this, it instinctively makes me feel safe. This must be how it feels to be permanently marked." Jing regains his composure and asks, "Help me get these chains off, and hand me my clothes and gun." Gunshots continue to echo through the venue. We see Jing in action, now properly armed and dressed, alongside Xihong. At that moment, one of the thugs tries to stab Jing in the back, but he, demonstrating great dexterity, anticipates the attack, taking down the enemy with a knife. Xihong, surprised, asks if Jing is okay, while Jing replies that he is and then thinks, "My senses are sharper. have they started to recover? Renu then informs the Bernett crew, we've wiped them out. While Xihong, standing behind Quinton, says, so, he's the only one left. Quinton, feeling desperate and trying to appeal to his emotions, says, Su Xihong, we still have your little brother. Are you sure you want to do that? However, Jing interjects, announcing, it's over, Quinton. We already rescued his brother. We then have a flashback explaining what happened. A few hours earlier, Xihong confronts Boss Su, grabbing him by the collar and demanding at the top of his lungs, as promised, we've located your younger son. Now where did your older son take my man? Where is he? Boss Su, weeping, replies, what? You found Ming Ming? I don't know where Xihong went. Renu then asks Xihong to calm down and immediately adds, that was Jing's backup plan. He wanted you to track him down through his pheromones. We just need to cooperate here. The scene then shifts back to the ruins where Jing and Xihong were, where Jing had mentioned, so your plan was to draw our group's attention and make me the focal point to protect me and buy time, while also figuring out who we are, hoping we'd help you escape with your family? To which Xihong had replied, that's right, but it's all gone off the rails now. I had to make a choice to protect my family. Jing, hearing this, then responds, your plan still works. Now that you've clarified your motives and identity, we can truly work together. Xihong, upon hearing this, wonders what he's talking about, and it's at this moment that we see Renhua arriving with Ming Ming in his arms, where the young boy says, this weird big brother saved me. Xihong, extremely happy and relieved, lovingly embraces his small and precious brother, expressing surprise upon realizing it was Renhua who was there, asking, when did you get? Jing interrupts him, mentioning, we sent people to patrol the town for suspicious activity, including keeping an eye out for kids. After all, traffickers often use kids to lure other children. That's how we found the girl who threatened you. We had some guys follow her, and she really did kidnap Ming Ming. We had Renhua rescue him and eliminated the Kalfa member sent to pick them up. You believed Ming Ming had been abducted, and knew you had to act. So I used myself as bait, hoping you'd reveal your identity, motives, and the auction's entrance. I've been releasing my pheromones the whole time. That way Xihong could track them and lead Bernett to my location. With that, Jing looks at Xihong and calmly asks, so what now? Bernett can protect your family. You should be able to make the right call now, right, Xihong? We then return to the present moment where Mr. Quinton nervously laughs. So that's how it went down. That's impressive. Jing, looks like you win this time. Jing coldly responds to Quinton, questioning, so do you choose death, or will you tell me who the other two founders are? Quinton then displays a calm and resolute expression, simply saying, I choose to tell you a secret, but I'll only tell you. So come closer, Jing. Witnessing Quinton's strange request, Xihong questions if he's truly asking for something so absurd. He even threatens to go after Quinton, but Jing asks him to stay calm. Slowly approaching, Jing points his pistol at the long-haired man's chin and calmly asks him to say what needs to be said. Quinton then whispers something in Jing's ear, something that makes his eyes widen. Without a second thought, Jing fires at Quinton, sending him crashing to the ground. His unexpected action alarms everyone. Xihong threatens to ask Jing what was said, but Jing anticipates him and says, he'd rather die than talk, so I finished him off in case he tried to escape. Let's go. We will track down the other two ourselves. A week after the entire incident, Renu, Lai, Xihong, and Xihong are gathered. Renu reports, the search of the underground ruins is complete. We found evidence of Blackmamba's human trafficking deals, but no trace of Kalfa at all. Lai then expresses, looks like Kalfa let Quinton do whatever he wanted, but in the end, he's just a pawn they've thrown away. Xihong, with a cigarette in his hand, takes the floor and says, keep an eye on the dark web. Let me know immediately if there's any activity. Renu promptly replies, yes, boss. Not much to report besides Su Xihong being on Blackmamba's bounty list. Xihong then speaks up. Thank you all for protecting my family and for letting me join your group. Xihong then remembers something and mentions, speaking of which, delivering a powerful punch to Xihong's face, which sends him falling to the ground. Looking down at Xihong, Xihong smiles ironically and mentions, you left your pheromones on Jing and even took him away. I have a score to settle with you for that. Xihong, still on the ground, replies, I know I let Jing down, but even if I hadn't teamed up with you guys, I plan to wait for Blackmamba to kill the buyer and then find a way to escape with both him and my brother. Do you really think you can handle that many people on your own? Lai then interrupts. By the way, where's Jing? I haven't seen him these past few days. Shouldn't he be here to talk about the next steps with us? Renu steps forward and simply states, Boss will update him. It's not our concern. Let's go. As the two leave, Xihong gets up and asks, You've put him on house arrest, haven't you? Xihong replies dryly, Your family is under Bernett's protection. You should know what you can and can't ask. Xihong then responds, I was just worried. I need to make sure he hasn't been hurt. Xihong then ironically says, Oh? Isn't that a bit rich coming from someone who kidnapped Jing to save his little brother? This statement silences Xihong. Xihong continues, I have a mission for you. It's related to Jing. Knowing his personality and how eager he is to find the other Kalfa founders, even if Quinton hadn't revealed the truth, Jing wouldn't have killed him. He'd keep him alive to negotiate. Quinton must have said something to make him react that way. You were a spy for them. Find out what Quinton was hiding from us and report back to me. Xihong replies, Got it. But internally he thinks, he's really treating me like one of his underlings. Whatever, Jing was acting weird. It's worth looking into. Xihong remembers mentioning that if Jing wanted, he'd help him escape, but now he thinks, I said that, but with Jing under house arrest, I can't get in touch with him. There's no way I can help him leave right now. Besides, Dad and Ming Ming are still under Bernett's protection. Then he remembers Gao Runzwa, thinking, he disappeared right after that. Where'd he go? I need to find him first. What Xihong didn't realize was that Runzwa was spying on him nearby. The scene shifts back to Jing, who asks Xihong, Are you done throwing your tantrum? Xihong embraces him from behind with intense possessiveness, while Jing says, Stop releasing your pheromones. Let me out. Xihong, filled with desire, bites Jing's neck and replies to his words, saying, Who told you to take that risk on your own? You didn't even discuss your backup plan with me. You were just permanently marked and then taken from me with so many seeing you like that. I'm not holding back this time. Jing, breathless, responds, Other than that time in Klimt, when have you ever held back? Jing then thinks to himself, He's been releasing his pheromones non-stop these past few days, taking me repeatedly. My body can only give in, unable to proceed with my next plan. Xihong, trying to leverage the intimate and intense moment between them, asks, What did Quinton say to you back then? Jing, breathless from the intensity, replies, I told you. He refused to name the other founders, even if it meant death. As they share a fervent kiss amidst carnal delirium, Jing thinks, I know Xihong can tell I'm lying to him, but there's no way I'll tell the truth. It's a secret he can't know. At this moment, we return to the scene where Jing had the gun pointed at Quinton, where his final words were, You're pregnant. The scene shifts perspective, and we now see Xihong ascending the residence stairs, where he finds Renu and Lai. He asks if they've seen Runzwa anywhere, and Lai responds with another question, wanting to know Xihong's reasons. Xihong then explains that Runzwa saved his brother Ming Ming, and all he wants is to thank him for it. Renu replies, Wherever Jing is, he'll be within a 10-meter radius. Hearing this, Lai wonders why Renu told Xihong that. Xihong then asks, What do you mean? Does he like Jing? To which Renu simply replies, Jing is his role model. Xihong continues with a worried tone. Was there no one better for him to choose? Why did you let him get into this line of work? He managed to escape this hell. He should be living a normal life. Renu responds, He wanted to avenge you because he thought you were dead. I won't stop him from doing what he wants. If you can convince him to leave the group, I won't stand in the way. Xihong falls silent for a moment, then changes the subject, asking, When you guys were clearing out the ruins, did you see the auctioneer's body? He's the guy with a badge on his chest and a crimson red tie. Renu questions this, replying, Everyone with a unique identity was accounted for, except for the guy you just mentioned. Upon hearing this, Xihong thinks for a bit and then says, So he must have slipped away. I lost him. These underground auctioneers are known for using secret passages. Xihong wanted me to investigate the secrets Quinton told Jing. That auctioneer might have some leads. He then asks Renu, "You're a capo, right? Lend me some of your guys. I'm going to go capture him." Lai gets irritated and says, "How useless. You need backup just to catch an auctioneer." But Renu, however, says, "Sure, you can have control over the second branch for now." Lai becomes completely frantic with Renu and questions, "Who do you think you are? How dare you hand over my branch? They're my men." Xihong, seeing the two in the midst of their dispute, decides to run off. At that moment, Renu places his hands on Lai's and says, "Doesn't matter. I'm your superior. The entire second branch is under my command." Lai says he doesn't agree with that, to which Renu simply says, "Fight me then." However, Lai knows very well that, unfortunately, his chances of winning are zero, leaving him only to tremble with rage. He then walks away, frustrated, and Renu thinks of saying something but prefers to remain silent and just follow him. After a few steps, Lai becomes annoyed by being followed and says, "Blockhead, stop following me." He then considers jumping down a level to get rid of Renu, but Renu grabs him from behind and pulls him close. Lai asks what he's doing, and Renu, strictly following the saying that a gesture is worth 1,000 words, simply kisses him and begins to exhale his pheromones. Lai, even after initially resisting, eventually succumbs to the temptation. Lai asks, "Are you nuts? Releasing your pheromones in broad daylight, what if I go into heat?" Renu then replies, "This little bit is just enough to comfort you, not enough to trigger a heat." Upon hearing this, Lai then says, "Huh? So you're trying to comfort me? Why? I'm just an Omega colleague you were forced to mark temporarily." But Renu, hearing him, replies, "I'll return the second branch to you after. Once I figure out your condition. I'm afraid the temporary mark might mess with the timing of your heat." Lai then responds, "There's heat suppressant, so it'll be fine. Why are you so concerned about that? Are you secretly in love with me?" Renu just looks at him in silence, thinking, "I don't know either. At first, I was moved by your resolve. Then I got caught up in your unusual drive and passion. Over the years, as we worked together, I became more interested in the things you did. And then one day I stumbled upon your secret, discovering that your competitive, prickly side is due to your Omega nature, and I'm the only one who now knows your secret. My desire to have you grew stronger every day, and it all came to the surface during our mission in Klimt, completely spiraling out of control. If you're asking if I'm secretly in love with you." After reflecting on all these words, our quiet Renu simply responds, "Yeah, I think so." These words completely break Lai, while Renu thinks he looks adorable when he's embarrassed. Lai, completely embarrassed, then stutters, "I'm not interested in being with a blockhead. Bye." But before he can leave, Renu grabs him from behind once more and says, "You'll become interested, little by little." Lai just wonders, who the hell gave you that kind of confidence? Meanwhile, Xihong is nearby, pretending not to see their interaction, thinking only of Manhwa and mentally asking, within a 10-meter radius, where could he be? With this, we conclude another part of our story, which will continue next week. If you leave a like and hype, subscribe to the channel, and comment that you want the continuation.